This is Tales Live, brought to you by Inside B&B. I'm Pam Holt, and today we're going to talk to Deborrah Ashley. Deborrah is the black belt, the LinkedIn black belt, and she's going to teach us all what we should do with our hosting businesses on LinkedIn, how we can attract guests, and also how we can look for other businesses to collaborate with us in our hosting endeavors. So, I'm going to bring Deborah in, but I need to let her know that if she's the black belt, I am in fact sitting in the corner trying to tie a knot in my white belt. So I am not going to, I'm not the expert on this. So let's bring Deborah in. And Deborah can help us because I can't. I don't know LinkedIn. I haven't tried it for this endeavor yet. Hi, there you are.
Hi, Pam. How are
I'm
you?
good, Deborah. How are you?
Pretty good. I'm going to see
Good.
if I can turn this up a little bit more.
Good, good, good. You see me okay?
I can see you perfectly fine.
Okay. Thank you for joining. I'm really excited to have you. I was just saying how I couldn't be more LinkedIn illiterate. Um, I have a profile. I'm not sure I've seen it in the last 5 years, maybe, and I don't know what to do with LinkedIn. So
Absolutely.
let's start by you telling us what you do. Tell us about your business.
Absolutely. And first of all, just so you know, you are probably within the 70% of people who have a LinkedIn account
And
and
don't know
they
what they're doing
probably
with it?
haven't logged in for the past year or so. So, just a quick story before I tell you a little bit about what I do.
Okay.
Obviously, we all know about Blockbuster and what happened, 10 years ago, right? Just around this time.
Hmm.
I went to their LinkedIn profile and they have 2,500 people, employees registered for Blockbuster. So that means
Oh,
2,500 people have not logged into their account in 10 years.
okay. Well, I hate to be in that group, but I guess, misery loves company. Okay.
It's comforting. All right, so a little bit about what I do. I'm a LinkedIn strategist, consultant, and trainer, and I help my clients leverage LinkedIn just to win more business. For some people, it's to build brand awareness, and for others, just to maintain an authority in their field. So that's
Okay.
pretty much what I do. And I also train companies and I train groups on how to use LinkedIn to increase sales and to make business development a lot easier.
Okay. And why LinkedIn?
Well, the funny thing is, 20 years ago, I started my career in the corporate world. I was happy. I was fine in the corporate world. And I've always had businesses in the past. While I was in the corporate world, I've had different businesses, offline, online. And I didn't realize until about maybe 7 years ago that I wasn't feeling fulfilled and I was completely bored. So I've always been on Instagram. I used to just post on a regular basis. Just, when Instagram started, it was something fun to do.
Hmm.
I didn't realize there was this whole world of business owners on Instagram until one day, and this is when I was still in the corporate world, someone tagged me on a post for a realtor who was looking for someone in marketing.
Mm.
And I was like shocked. I couldn't believe that there was this entire world of people who you've never met them before, but you're willing to
Right.
trust them with your
Right.
business.
Right.
So around that time was when I was kind of like feeling restless, where I knew that I just didn't want to, I didn't want to retire from that company. I knew that there was something more for me. So I started to look more into the online space, and within 6 months, I gave my notice and I said, I'm out of there.
Okay.
So I started out as like a social media person on Instagram, and
Okay.
I've always had a LinkedIn account like everyone else.
Hmm.
And then the same thing happened when I went onto LinkedIn. I went onto LinkedIn to update my information, kind of close out that chapter of my life, and to announce that I was a business owner. And then within 2 days, someone reached out to me to help them with a marketing plan.
Oh,
Once again, I was
nice.
blown away.
Okay.
So I just started to use it for my own business. I didn't think anything about helping anyone else. And then I started to share on Facebook about, all these amazing things happening on LinkedIn. And more people started to reach out to me to ask for my help. And I knew that was my thing.
Okay.
It feels easy for me. So I knew that was my thing.
Okay. It feels easy for you. It feels not so easy to me, and mostly because I think of it as this kind of, business to business situation, and very corporate. And if I was looking for a job, I might go there, but I don't. I haven't considered it for my new life as a short-term rental host and as a short-term rental host educator. So So what do I do on LinkedIn as it relates to hosting and reaching? Can I reach new guests, or am I only going to be able to reach, not only, but am I going to need to focus on reaching other businesses that I can work with?
Well, I think the good thing about LinkedIn, ever since Microsoft bought LinkedIn, there's been this transition.
Okay.
LinkedIn is trying to, of course, rebrand itself because it's no longer about recruiters and resumes or anything like that. So they have actually, and you can, well, I see the shift happening where they're trying to turn it almost into a media company.
Mm.
So instead of these business people say, go into the Wall Street Journal offline, they are bringing all the news to LinkedIn. So the
Okay.
biggest thing that you want to do, especially if you're using LinkedIn, and obviously there's going to be a foundation you have to build first, but the biggest thing that you want to do to stand out is to become that authority and say that, you could be like the Airbnb authority in the Southeast Florida area.
Okay.
So you want to kind of like start sharing information about, this is obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. I think I read the news. I don't know if Airbnb is still allowing people to host.
You can
Are
host.
they?
There are different restrictions now, and but people are hosting. It's a difficult time for hosts, but it's starting to pick up. I've seen longer stays for people. Right now, I have someone in one of my places for a month, which is great, and
That,
and prices are coming back, at least in my area. So I think we're going
right.
to be fine. I think there'll be this big pent up demand once some of the restrictions lessen, and so I want hosts to be ready at that time. Have their spaces ready, have their marketing ready, have their selves ready to go, because
Right.
there's going to be a flood of people who want to get out of their house and
Absolutely.
want to leave their town, or at least they want to get out and do some things that we haven't been able to do this year. So
Right. So knowing that now, the way you can position yourself as an expert, and even because it's almost like a local celebrity, right?
okay.
So now you start putting out posts, or you start putting out articles about three things to be, and this is about the safety. Everyone wants to make sure that, we're feeling safe if we decide to go to a hotel or Airbnb. Three things that you should be aware of when going into an Airbnb during the pandemic.
Okay.
Could be, three things, or three things you should carry. You should always have with you. You should make sure is available in any Airbnb you go to. Hand sanitizer, whatever it is for you guys. You could have another one. Three things to consider before going to your next Airbnb. And all of that information is for you guys. It's in your head. So it's just about putting it out on an easy way for these. And these are like, clearly business people who are, like you said, they're ready to travel for their personal life. They're ready to travel for business. But let's be real. Some are ready to get away from their families.
you know.
They
Yes,
visit
I know
their
about
families
that.
and their kids forever. Like a 1 week could feel like forever, but it's 6 months now. It's like 6 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nearly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
Hosts
it
feel
could be
that. Let me
like,
tell you.
and what do you say?
Hosts feel that because, and for a lot of us, depending on where you're located, this is our time. A lot of this is seasonal. So for us to be, suffering like this over the summer is tough. But we're coming back. We're
Exactly.
coming strong, and we want to have a presence on LinkedIn as an expert in our area. That's what I hear you saying.
Yes.
So at that point, we're trying to reach new guests because we're an expert in our area. So what do we move on to talking about our specific listings, or do we keep it as an overall expert of the area? Do you think we can work in our listings and on this
Expert
platform?
and a resource.
Okay.
So what you want to do, like the very first thing you're going to have to do before anything else is you want to have, just like on Instagram, an optimized LinkedIn profile. So you can say, and it could be as simple as a headline that says Airbnb host Florida area, or, Detroit area, or whatever area. Create a headline that's obviously a bit sexier than I just told you.
Okay. Okay.
But you want to have like a very specific headline that when you start sharing the resources, and just to quickly answer your question, since I can go around the block with it, no, you don't want to put out your listings.
Okay.
When we talk about what's in it for me in marketing, no one really technically cares about the listings, right?
Okay.
They care about their family and they care about the safety. I know someone whose kids are going on, I guess it's fall break is coming up already, which is scary. So they're actually traveling to Florida and they're going to get an Airbnb to just get their kids out the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know whether it's fall break or they're just bringing their kids and they can do, because you can do homeschool. Everyone's doing homeschooling now, so you
Right.
can do it wherever you want.
Right.
That's the beautiful part. So that could even be a conversation.
That's a
Are
good
your
point.
kids starting to get tired of being inside the house? Yes, they are.
Mm-hmm.
You already know that. Here are 3 ways you can treat your kids and treat yourself to a break. Rent an Airbnb. Here is, and maybe you can even be that person who has a list of the top, and when we create these top lists of the Airbnbs in the country,
Mm-hmm.
it's not really a top list. You're creating it on your own. So maybe you have about 10 friends that you guys give each other referrals.
Okay.
So maybe someone is in the Philadelphia area, someone's in the DC area, someone is in the Miami area, and you just like refer each other out.
That's great.
So you create this whole cool listing of the top 10 places to go if you're in the DC area, and here are 3 Airbnbs.
Okay. Well,
So
and we can link to our Airbnb profile at that point.
yeah, well, here's what happens with LinkedIn. So this is like
I'm like, I got to get my listing in there somehow.
it's all going to work out.
Okay.
So the goal is every time you put out a post, and I wish, we can do this again and I can kind of do a walkthrough.
Oh, that'd be great.
Every time you put out a post, people are going to automatically go to your profile to see who is this genius person talking about Airbnbs, because
Okay.
no one else is on the platform doing that. So you're putting all of that information inside your profile. You have 2,000 characters inside your profile to set up any way you want.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. Okay, so we can talk about our posting ability. We can talk about us as expert for the area, and we can talk about the listing specifically, all in the profile.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in the profile.
All right.
And then you're going to talk about the post. Obviously, you're going to post on the platform just like you would on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
But the goal for the post is for people to now go back to your profile, just because as humans, we're nosy. So the goal is to now go and see who this person is, because I've never seen them on my feed before.
Okay.
This is a fresh voice on LinkedIn, and they don't typically talk about this. So who is reminding me that my kids are like tired of being in the house?
Like, who knows me? Who knows if my kids getting on my nerves?
Exactly. Who's reading my diary, right?
Right.
My journal.
Right.
So, yeah, once you capture that emotional side with people, they're going to either reach out to you or they're going to go to your profile and take a look to see what's going on.
Okay, fantastic. So, like I said, I've been there for a long time. Does LinkedIn have the capability, I think they do at this point, of allowing you to go live or to put, informational videos on, or is this always you writing a post?
Well, here's an interesting thing. I actually just put out a post about that on Monday. I just finished my first book, and within that context, there's an area about what gets the most engagement.
Okay.
The interesting thing, video, which it was up to a year ago, video came out on LinkedIn. It doesn't get the most engagement anymore.
Oh, really?
I've confirmed that with a few people. Yeah. So you can still go live because it's an easier way to capture that know, like, and trust factor fairly quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But well, you guys can, I can always say get my book. But one thing that gets engagement very quickly would be a graphic with something inside. It could be like, like a graphic you do on Instagram. Do you know that 50% of the people who go to Airbnbs, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Or
So stats
a
and
long
things.
form post.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because people are on LinkedIn to get information. They're there to understand. They're there to get resources. Video, I have a short attention span. So if you don't capture me in the first 30 seconds, then I'm off to another thing.
That's gone.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Well, no, that's interesting because I've posted some longer pieces on Instagram, and I don't think anyone cares. And then,
Exactly.
I'll post a couple lines of, I'll post something that says mood and everybody's into it. So I should take my longer form to LinkedIn. That's what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
I tell my Facebook people, because they're always like, I just want you to help me update my profile. I don't need a strategy. And I said, well, where did you get the strategy from? A Facebook coach. I tell my Facebook and even Instagram people, everything that you learned on Facebook and Instagram on how to be successful, unlearn it.
Oh,
It doesn't
okay.
work on Instagram. It doesn't work on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So yeah, you have to kind of like restructure your brain, and because, like I said, selling works on Facebook. Click the link in my bio, in my profile, works on Instagram, but it doesn't necessarily work on LinkedIn. They almost feel insulted.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. Well,
Yeah.
that's, interesting how these platforms have their own profiles. I'm very specific. I mean, more than just the demographic, they have their own little personalities, I suppose.
Exactly. Yes. It's like their own language, their own personalities. I almost think too, especially when we think about business people or people who think of themselves as experts, right? They don't like to be told what to do.
Oh,
So if you're now kind of like if it's their idea to reach out to you or their idea to go to your profile, then yeah, heck yeah, they're gonna buy it like easily. But if you have to tell them, now you're like now, and this is just me thinking that way. Now it's just like you can't tell me what to
yeah.
do.
Excuse me. I make my own decisions about that. Yeah. Okay. I get that. I
Exactly.
get that. So we build ourselves as this authority in our area, in our region, and I like that because that's the same kind of thing you do or you can do on Instagram. But I see how you could go in deeper and sort of spin it a little bit for the LinkedIn profile. So I get that part. And how do we then, because I see a lot of people doing collaborations with other businesses, and I think for hosts this is a great idea because, in our off seasons, uh, we still have to pay the bills. So we need to come up with ideas about, specials and discounts and, working with people in our neighborhood and local businesses. How would we get to other businesses to try to form those relationships to try to see if we can get those collaborations going?
I would say to actually I would use Instagram for that.
Oh, okay.
Because when you think about your local businesses, and it could be as simple as like a pizza shop, right?
Right.
They're going to be hanging out more on Instagram.
Okay.
But then since you're the authority and since you're the leader and since you're the connector, you are going to take all of those collaborations that you've just created, the strategic partnerships, and you're going to go onto LinkedIn and you're going to help them. So the more you start to help them, because they only know they only know Instagram, and they're just like, I'm not going to go on LinkedIn. It's not for me. Everyone thinks that, right?
Right.
If you're the brave soul that you're going to go on LinkedIn and you're going to start helping them too with their business, they'll do anything for you.
Oh, okay. So
So
your
yeah.
collaborations can get even more interesting when you sort of lead them.
Absolutely.
I like
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
I
And
like that.
obviously, it takes work to do, but once you get it done, it's so well worth it. It's so worth it.
Okay. So tell us about your book.
Okay. I have a book that I just released about a week and a half ago. It's called Insider and How to Leverage LinkedIn to Stand Out as the Industry Leader. And it takes you through how to build out your profile. I'm going to say your profile is about 75% of the equation of how to make sales on LinkedIn. So how to build out your profile, how to develop the right type of partnerships, how to develop your network. And you've heard the saying, your network is your net worth.
Right.
That is very, very true on LinkedIn because it's all about relationships. I always talk about, and this is something I mentioned in the book too, you have your clients, you have your potential collaborators and your potential champions. Obviously, you know who your clients are. Those are those people coming into your home, right? Your hotel, your Airbnb facility. Then you have your potential collaborators. Like this, for example, is a collaboration, or a pizza shop is a collaboration, or a realtor is a collaboration. For example, if you want to now work with a corporation who, wants to get an executive in your Airbnb for like a
Right.
weekend or something. And then you have your champions. Champions are people who are not necessarily buying into anything you have. They're not necessarily looking to rent anything, but they will talk about you in circles that you've never been in, and they will connect you. They'll kind of champion for your brand. So
Yes.
those are the three people who are going to be very important in your network. So I speak about that too. Obviously, I speak about content, which is a very important piece to drive traffic back to your profile. And I just go in how to make sure that you're seen as that desirable person. There's an example I used on Facebook today where I mentioned Like for me, it's very interesting, and it's a dynamic my friend called me out on. Like I'm so excited and so happy. Like if there's a guy I like, if he's calling me on a regular basis, this is about sales and pitching people, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm not interested in the guy, and if I don't like him, it's annoying if he keeps calling
Oh,
me.
okay.
So now,
That's a
how can
nice
you
analogy.
become that person who's like the desirable person?
I don't know. Is that
Yeah.
rhetorical or are you asking me? Because I love the idea of having this profile on LinkedIn, although it's a little intimidating. So I know that you have a service where you will help host. Um, are you going to audit? Are you going to start them from scratch with their profile? How are you going to work with them?
I do a few. I have one that's just a video audit. If you want me to look through and say, okay, do this, change that, update this in order to make it more appealing to your potential, buyer, quote unquote buyer, because you're exchanging money. Or I can create your profile completely from scratch. You just hand everything to me. We have a conversation about the message and what you want to accomplish.
Hmm.
And I create the entire thing from scratch. So two different options with that.
Okay.
Some people are more, they prefer to, like for me, I'm the type that if I can outsource it, I will. And some people, they want to learn at the same time too. So
Oh, I think that's interesting, but I think that again, back to that being a little intimidating for a lot of people. So, uh,
true.
yeah, I'd like a little hand holding in this case. So
Same.
now, what about images? You know, a host like Instagram, because it's so visual. How are people using, photographs? If they're not doing so much video, are they doing a lot of photo images?
You know what? It depends. So what I see, especially for some realtors, they're showing homes, and you know how when you go into Zillow or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that doesn't work. Like
Okay.
when you think about LinkedIn, they're not necessarily on LinkedIn to
Buy a home.
shop for a home.
Okay.
So it's about now understanding what do your people really want? What's this? And it's obviously you're not putting pictures of your kids or pictures of
Mm-hmm.
your dogs or anything like that. So yes, there are some pictures that you're going to be putting up, but it's not going to be about the home or the inside or how things are decorated.
Okay.
Uh, what you can do in a different sort of way. So here's another thing that just came to me, and I wrote a post about this like last year. You can also be a resource for, say, a realtor. Just because the realtor is not your main customer doesn't mean that they can't send you business.
Mm.
So you can be a resource for a realtor or someone marketing in that space or a mortgage broker by saying, this is how you dress up a home in order to make it sell better. Like I remember I put something out there about, and I never knew the concept about baking warm cookies. So when someone walks in, it feels like home for them.
It's an old realtor
So I
trick.
was like, mind blown, right? But some people don't know that. So I think there's cool stuff like that, putting that out there would be great. And what works really well is storytelling. So even if if you want to use LinkedIn as your way of sharing different experiences, your most interesting, do you call it renty? Do you call them
Guest.
renty?
Guest.
Rent.
Guest.
Yeah, your most interesting rentee, your most fun rentee. Obviously, you don't want to go negative with it, like your horrible rentee,
Your
because
worst stories right now.
because everyone's gonna be like, is she talking about me?
No.
People always think that you're talking about them. I think that would be a great way too, but not the traditional pictures you see on Instagram.
Okay. So it sounds very different than what I've been doing, but I like it. I like it a lot as a way to be this expert and stand out. I really like it because there's not a lot of it going on Instagram, on LinkedIn. I know there's not a lot of hosts doing it. So I think you know, just standing out because you're the only one there is a good thing, and you never know what can come to you by being there and being the expert. So I think that's important. I'm gonna get my LinkedIn profile together, I suppose.
Do it. It's so worth it. And I think just to make things a lot of fun, yeah, I think it's so worth it. If anyone has questions, I'm open to answer too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, I would love to have you come back because there's, a really a lot more to go into, and I would like to go into it sort of step by step with you sometime. Like,
Sure.
what does your headline? Is there a headline there? What do you need to say to convince people in your profile that you are this expert? You know, how much information do you need to give them, and what are they looking for to believe you to be this expert? So maybe you'll join us again sometime and get real specific about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, well, I want to thank you for your time today. This has been great. It's been so nice to meet you. And you look
You
so
too,
bright and
Pam.
cheery with your bright background. That looks so cool. I love it. So thank you
Think it was
again.
my birthday last Saturday, so I had a virtual party.
Oh, I love it. It looks great. So how can people
Thank you.
reach you to help with their profiles and their LinkedIn
Um,
personalities?
if they go to, they can go, obviously they can go on the platform here. If you do hashtag the LinkedIn Black Belt, THE LinkedIn Black Belt, you'll find me there. You'll find me on Facebook, hashtag the LinkedIn Black Belt, or on LinkedIn. If you dare come over to play, you'll find me there. But just do the hashtag the LinkedIn Black Belt, or you'll see my, or if you do at the LinkedIn Black Belt, you can follow me there
Okay.
too.
And I love that name. That is fabulous. That says it all right
Thank,
there.
thank
All right,
you.
well, thanks again. Great to meet you. We hope to have you back
Thanks for
soon.
having
And
me.
thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Hi.